Good afternoon. This is John G. Presco coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon. And I'm talking with my new teeth in, so I'm not used to it. I've been making videos without them, so I got to start making them with my teeth in. Happens, you get old, out with the new in, with the old in with the new. Okay. What madness am I up to now? I met with my therapist, Barbara, an hour ago or more. And basically, the theme was don't hide your light under a bushel. And I revealed the core of my spirituality. We're all supposed to be spiritual human beings, uh, some kind. Um, so I wanted to do this a couple of days ago, but things have been happening very rapidly. I wanted to start, I wanted to have that money that Governor Brown's going to give the Republicans go for establishing a uh, a peace war protester foundation here in Oregon, which would be a model for all the 50 states. The anti-war movement has never been funded. In fact, government funding was used to destroy the anti-war movement. And that's why I'm going to be seeking a lawyer, because I think I'm going to have to sue for this $100 million windfall that Governor Brown is giving the Republicans to do what they will with it. Well, the Republicans have been very busy creating a covert church out of the Republican Party founded by McKinnon. And I wanted to sue them for that. But alas, my motives are pure. Right now, there's a lot of what looks like a lot of anti-war protesters in Russia out in the streets. This is Russians, citizens of Putin's empire, protesting against his invasion of Ukraine in the streets. Yeah. And people are saying, well, aren't they brave? Boy, are they going to get it. Putin's going to knock their heads in. He's going to get his special goon squad with cats and nine tails. Well, I've been through that. I went to an anti-war protest in Boston where Nixon was speaking at the Armory, and there were two groups that went to protest about his invasion of Cambodia or something. He was not ending the war in Vietnam that was fought to stop communism. Remember? Communism pushed by the Soviet Union. And they were giving military aid to the Viet Cong, North Vietnam. The Russians were doing that. Tucker Carlson seems to have forgotten that. And he's not talking about us hippies being Putin haters or commie haters, because we didn't like them. We didn't like the Soviet Union, and we didn't like Richard Nixon. We didn't like Reagan. We didn't like Bush for going into Iraq. Basically, we were for peace. For peace. For peace. So Tucker Carlson's all over Lindsey Graham for not being for the American people and being against Putin. And he comes up with all this stuff. But he's a Republican. He's on he speaks on the Republican propaganda TV station. and he's never criticized George W. Bush for creating the fake yellow paste and saying Saddam had nuclear weapons in the works, and that was a lie. And we went to war. You know, so how many Americans were Saddam Hussein haters? You know, how come Tucker Carlson is saying, "Oh gosh, I remember, back in blah 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 when uh, the Democrats were and the Republicans were saying, let's hate Saddam Hussein. Yeah, hate him, and we hate him. Blah, let's kill him. Shock and awe, shock and awe. Well, I was protesting in Eugene against going in, being a Saddam Hussein hater. The evil one. The whole thing. Because it was a lie. Yeah, he was a bad man. You know, like Putin's a bad man. You could make comparisons between Saddam Hussein and Putin. Two peas in a pod, people. And he was very nice to the Kurds. He gassed them. And he was at war with Iran. Really? The evil one was fighting Iran, the holy Kalamunis, and who took over, took hostages, American hostages in the Iran overthrow of the Peacock Throne. So the evil one was killing, the Iranian Royal Guard or whatever they're called. Yeah, he was. Yeah, so how come we're not talking about that? We need to have a state-funded anti-war institute. We need it because we've spent trillions of dollars on weapons for NATO and everything else. We've spent trillions of dollars fighting the evil empire of the Soviet Union, and we've spent $1 trillion preparing to go to war with Putin. The NATO, we've given a lot of money to NATO to hate Putin. Tucker Carlson says, that wasn't very nice. So I came up with my own basically anti-Putin, anti-war novel called The Royal Janitor. And I turned James Bond into his granddaughter, Victoria Rosamond Bond, and her bodyguard, Miriam Starfish Chrysling. And it begins on a tugboat. And this tugboat Annie woman that's got her little radio show, she lives on a tugboat. And she's having a war of words with Sion O'Shanady, who's got, his radio show. So it's a dueling radio show thing. And she challenges him to a boxing match and she knocks him out of the ring. What? When did you write this? When did you start that? What, almost 4 years ago? Are you trying to say that came true? Except Tucker Carlson, is, the guy that comes in with a Soviet Putin flag on and, I'm here to defend Putin. Get stalked. Come on, you Putin haters. I'll take you on, says Tucker Carlson. See, not Sion O'Shanady. It's Tucker Carlson, the other propagandist at Fox News. That's how this novel began. It's prophetic. It predicts the future that has arrived today. You can read it. I'm going to post this on the blog I'm working on, but you can read it. How prophetic it is. There's just no doubt anymore. I discuss this with my therapist too. So I'm not afraid saying I'm a prophet because I got the evidence. I got the proof. Proof. So Governor Brown announced that she's going to give the Republicans $100 million. I'm going to try to intercept it and put that in the Oregon Anti-War Institute coffers. So when the next tyrant that rises up, the next evil one, and wants to go to war or start a war, we just won't leave it up to chance or whatever that people are going to rise up and march in the streets, not with guns or anything, hold up signs, no more war, no more war, Putin out of Ukraine or whatever. See, this is going to be organized because the Christian right organized the Tea Party and said it was a grassroots secular movement. No, it was signed by Dick Armey, Republican, for the Republican Christian Church that was being created so they could be double dippers. See, they could get the basket passed at the church, they get that money, and then they get the Republican Party to do the Christian right agenda with using our tax money. And they think that's quite clever of them. And that's why I need a very, very, very good lawyer, because I'm going to sue basically the Christian right took over my family's party. I'm related to John Fremont. So I want to sue them for all that money that they used, the taxpayer, to pay for their hidden church, hidden in the Republican Party. And they weaponized the Republican Party for the killer Jesus or whatever. But the other ones that got behind pussy grabbing Trump, the sinner, and he's not repentant or anything. And he's saying he did not lose the election, but it was stolen from him by the criminal Democrats. Well, Putin heard all this. He says, boy, my buddy Donald Trump is putting down the red carpet for me because of the American people that, who are the voters of the strongest nation on earth, the United States. If they will accept a guy like Trump as their king dictator, who's in, bed politically with Jesus, well, heck, I could, just imitate Donald Trump and then I can invade Ukraine. And who's going to stop me? I'll just nuke them. Hey, you want to start a nuclear war? Stop me. Stop my tanks, my planes, my ships, and everything else. Well, right now, there's all these protesters, Russian protesters, anti-war protesters in the street. That's the hope, people. That's the hope of humanity right there. And they're taking chances. They're saying, boy, they're going to get beat up. They're going to be tear gassed. They're going to get bayoneted. They're going to get run down, by Cossacks on horseback and clubbed to the ground. Well, I was in that demonstration in Boston. We ended up running from the Boston police. They were hiding down the street, and they gave the signal, and they came running with these big long batons. They were chasing us down, going bam, bam, bam. Oh, they were smiling. Get the law protesters! You didn't think we come at you with horses, did you? Bam, bam, bam. I swear to God. They had us on the railroad tracks with dogs, and they're like having the dogs lunge at us, and we lunge back onto the train. They kept the trains running. People were in danger of falling down the tracks. Look at that way. That guy almost fell out of the track. There, yeah, that young girl there. Shit, she's crying. This is 1971, folks, in America. Tucker, the little pucker. Come on, Pucker, Tucker. You know, how old was he? 10? What was he doing? Eating candy and playing, Atari games? What was the little Pucker Tucker doing? And all of a sudden the group from Harvard showed up. They had like 5 cop cars with their signals going, and they were carrying torches, and there was about 10,000 of them coming down Commonwealth Avenue, pretty wide street. And the cops go, reinforcements. And they shrunk back from this 10,000 war protesters. And so we need this to be funded. See, I talked about creating a couple of battleships, one named after Peter DeFazio and the other after John Fremont. So, and the Navy is saying we need, 100 ships to keep up with China and Russia. Well, 100 warships is very, very, very spendy. So let's take some of that money that the military wants and the people that make those ships, the people that are contracted, will make a profit from these making war toys that aren't working. They're not stopping Putin. They're not being used. The president of Ukraine says, hey, come on, NATO, United States, this guy's got, all these tanks and 160,000 troops, I don't think you're deterring him. He doesn't have a conscience, doesn't, think he's got all the Russian people behind him. And he's just going to do what he wants. And get in his way, he'll nuke you. So what's going to stand in his way? War protesters, folks, like me and my hippie friends in the Bay Area. Because it started there. The anti-war movement basically started in the Bay Area and it spread all over the world. And so let's make Oregon the new capital of the anti-war movement, and let's have it be funded $100 million. Don't give that money to the Republican Party in Oregon, because they'll secret it to their covert hidden church within the party that my kindred John Fremont founded. He didn't found the church. In fact, he was surrounded by German socialists and Hungarian socialists, 1848 revolution in Europe. So this was not, he did not found a religious organization whatsoever when he founded the Republican Party. And being anti-war, it goes with being anti-slavery, i.e., us hippies were allies of the civil rights movement, okay, that the Republican Party didn't like either. They still don't like it. They didn't like it when Obama was a president. They don't like people who are against the war and people who want equal rights and voting rights. They just don't like that. Add it up. They hate people that aren't pro-war. They hate people that are anti-war. They hate people that want Black people to have equal voting rights and civil rights. And does the civil rights movement get funded by any state government or anything like that? I don't know. They got lawyers to help, go to the Supreme Court and things, but is there any direct funding for the civil rights movement in America? Maybe there should be. Yeah, but the Republican Church, the covert Republican Church, the hidden dark church, Republican Church, is coming up with laws passed where make it hard for Democrats to vote. So I think Tucker should be on that. I mean, he's talking about Lindsey Graham not giving rewards to people. Well, why don't you start thinking about the Democrats, Mr. Tucker Pucker, about everybody having the equal right to vote. See, the gift of democracy is the right to vote. That's the one and only guaranteed gift. The United States government doesn't have to give you a gun. It'll give you the right to bear arms, but it doesn't say, oh, Mr. Lucky you get a gun with your Second Amendment. Here, take the gun, Oh, you want some human targets to use your gun on? Okay, let's see. Oh, look, there's the evil one over there in Iraq, Saddam Hussein. He's the evil one. He's got yellow cake and anthrax, and he's trying to kill the American people. Take your gun over there, Mr. Second Amendment guy, and kill those guys. Boy, did that work? Huh? Well, the anti-war movement, the anti-Iraqi war movement, I was there demonstrating, and it didn't work. Didn't stop George W. Bush, the Republican, or any of his Republican congressmen and senators from going over there and conducting an illegal war with Saddam Hussein. They lied, and they knew it was all a lie. He wasn't building weapons of mass destruction. Okay, well, that's the plan. The Oregon Institute of Peace and Anti-War Demonstrations. We'll get experts on this field. We'll have our own think tank. They'll come up with strategy. It'll be like a cookie cutter strategy. They'll help make signs for people in the state that want to protest against the war. They'll even get them pay for some TV time. Some anti-war TV commercials. Maybe we'll have one in the Super Bowl. Oh, here comes the. And now, as a special treat on the 50-yard line, it's the Oregonian Institute of Peace and War protesting. Yay! Ooh, you get some rap artists, Yeah, I'm a crazy man, but I'm not armed. I don't got a tank, and I'm not threatening anybody. Peace, brother.